A 12-year-old German Shepherd staggered and fell in the middle of a parking lot where 30 bikers from the Iron Brotherhood MC were gathered. The dog was dying, exhausted, alone. When the club president knelt to help him, he saw something that made 30 war veterans cry. On the dog's collar, hanging between the ID tags, were 3 military medals: Purple Heart, Bronze Star, and Medal of Valor. Engraved on the tags, SGT, James Hartford, Kia, Afghanistan, 2016 Rex, my partner to the end. 6 hours later, 500 veteran bikers from 23 different clubs marched in military formation through the streets of Pittsburgh. And what they discovered about this dog changed federal laws about retired military dogs forever. Rex was exactly 12 years, 4 months, and 17 days old on that Sunday, September 8, 2024. German Shepherd. 62 pounds when he should have weighed 84. Gray and black coat with white patches around his muzzle, signs of age. Amber eyes darkened by early cataracts. A pronounced limp in his right hind legs, severe arthritis. A 3-inch scar on his left shoulder, shrapnel from a grenade in 2009. Rex was no ordinary dog. He was a retired war hero. Born on April 15, 2012 at Fort Benning, Georgia, trained as a military K-9 specializing in explosives detection, 18 months of intensive training, certified in May 2013, assigned to 3rd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. His handler, the person who commanded and cared for him, was Sergeant James Michael Hartford, 28 years old. From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, serving since 2006, 2 tours in Iraq, preparing for a 3rd tour in Afghanistan. James and Rex were paired in June 2013. The connection was instant. James used to say, "He's not just a dog, he's my partner, my brother." They deployed to Afghanistan in August 2013. Over 26 months, James and Rex completed 187 missions together. Rex detected 34 IEDs, improvised explosive devices, saved countless lives. James never lost a man on a mission when Rex was present. On October 14, 2015, during a patrol in Kandahar, Rex alerted. He stopped, sat. The signal for an explosive detected. James called the EOD team. They found an IED buried 16 inches off the path. If Rex hadn't alerted, 8 soldiers would have died. But war takes its toll. On March 3, 2016, during a night operation in a hostile zone, Rex and James were clearing an abandoned building. Rex alerted again. James called for a retreat. The grenade came from a 2nd-story window. James saw it. He threw himself over Rex, protected the dog with his own body. The explosion killed James instantly. He was 31. Rex took shrapnel to the shoulder. Hemorrhage. Trauma. But he survived. He stayed by James's body for 14 minutes until the rescue team arrived. He refused to leave his handler even while injured. Soldiers had to carry him away by force. Rex spent 6 weeks in recovery. Physically, he healed. Emotionally, he never fully recovered. He developed canine PTSD, a real condition where war dogs suffer psychological trauma. Rex was retired from active service in May 2016. 4 years of service, 187 missions, 34 IEDs detected, an undeniable hero. But this is where the problem began. In 2016, retired military dogs faced a complicated system. The law allowed handlers to adopt their canine partners, but only if they were still in military service. If the handler had died or left the service, the dog went to a general adoption list. James Hartford's family, his mother, Linda, 64, and younger brother Daniel, 26, tried to adopt Rex. They filled out forms, went through interviews, waited 8 months, request denied. Official reason, inadequate living space. Linda lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and insufficient experience with military dogs. Daniel had never owned a dog. Rex went to a military kennel at Fort Benning, waiting for adoption. 18 months passed. No one adopted him. Rex was 8 years old, too old for most families. He had PTSD reactive to loud noises, nervous around strangers. and he had developing arthritis, needed expensive medication. He was not an easy dog. In December 2018, a retired military couple from Alabama finally adopted him. Thomas and Margaret Chen, both 58 Gulf War veterans, they had experience with dogs, space, resources. Rex went to their home in January 2019. For 3 years, Rex lived well. The Chens loved him, cared for him, treated his arthritis, respected his PTSD. Rex had a big yard, quality food, a soft bed. But in February 2022, Thomas suffered a massive stroke. He died 2 weeks later. Margaret, at 61, was devastated and alone. She tried to care for Rex, but her own health was failing. Type 2, diabetes, heart problems, limited mobility. In August 2023, Margaret was moved into a nursing home. She couldn't take Rex. She contacted the Hartford family. Linda was 71 now. Daniel, 33, lived in a small apartment in Pittsburgh, working 2 jobs to pay off student debt. Neither could take Rex. Margaret, desperate, found a temporary solution, a private shelter in Pittsburgh that claimed to specialize in elderly dogs. Green Valley Senior Dog Sanctuary. Pretty website, welcoming photos, positive reviews, fake, as later discovered. Margaret paid $3,000 up front for 6 months of care. She dropped Rex off personally in September 2023. "I'll come get you when I'm better," she promised, petting Rex one last time. She died of a heart attack in December 2023. Rex was alone again. Green Valley Senior Dog Sanctuary was a fraud, operated by Richard Stewart, 52, and his wife, Patricia, 49. They promised premium care for elderly dogs. In reality, it was a maximum profit, minimum care operation. 20 dogs in a facility designed for 8. Tiny cages. Cheap food bought in bulk. No exercise, no socialization, no love. A vet visited once a month, a superficial 15-minute inspection. He was paid extra to not see problems. Rex was in a 4FTX thrift cage, 22 hours a day. He only went out to relieve himself 10 minutes twice a day. Food, low-quality kibble, $8 for a 44 lb bag. Rex received 1 cup a day when he should have received 3. Arthritis medication, suspended. Too expensive, Patricia said. Rex lost 22 pounds in 11 months. His arthritis worsened severely. Walking caused visible pain. He whimpered when he stood up. But worse than the physical pain was the emotional pain. Rex was a working dog, trained for a mission, for a purpose. Now he was in a cage, forgotten, slowly dying of neglect. In August 2024, a surprise inspection was carried out by the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, responsible for licensing animal facilities. They found 14 violations: overcrowding, inadequate nutrition, failure to provide veterinary care, unsanitary facilities, falsified records. Green Valley was given 30 days to correct the issues or be shut down. Richard and Patricia panicked. They didn't have money for improvements. They had spent it all. Instead of fixing things, they decided on a solution: get rid of the dogs quickly. They sold 8 dogs on shady websites, gave 6 to other shelters without proper documentation. Dumped 4 on the street during the night. Rex was one of those dumped. In the early morning of September 7, 2024, Patricia opened the back door of the facility. She pushed Rex out. "Go on, get," she said. She closed the door. Rex, 12 years old, arthritic, disoriented, alone, began to walk. He didn't know where to go. He didn't recognize anything. James had been dead for 8 years. The Chens were dead. He had no home. So he did the only thing he knew. He followed his military training. When lost, seek help. Seek allies. Rex walked for 14 hours, his hind leg in excruciating pain. No water, no food, exhausted. Until, at 4:40 p.m. on September 8th, he reached the parking lot of a roadside diner where 30 Harley-Davidson motorcycles were parked, and he staggered, and he fell. Vincent Warhorse McKenzie was finishing his coffee when he saw the dog fall. He and 29 members of the Iron Brotherhood MC were returning from a veteran's funeral in Cleveland. "Dog down out here," someone shouted. The 30 bikers ran outside. Rex was lying on his side, shallow breathing, eyes half closed, giving up. Marcus "Tank" Rodriguez, who had a German Shepherd at home, knelt first. "He's hypothermic," Tank said, checking him. "Dehydrated, malnourished. This dog is dying." Raymond "Doc" Patterson was already bringing water, a blanket from his saddlebag, emergency food. But it was Jake "Ghost" Thompson who saw it first. "Guys," Ghost said, his voice shaking, "look at his collar." Rex's collar was standard military issue, thick black nylon, but hanging from it, besides the ID tags, were 3 medals: Purple Heart, the purple and gold medal, awarded to military members wounded in combat; Bronze Star, the Bronze Star, awarded for heroic or meritorious service; Medal of Valor, the red, white, and blue medal, one of the highest honors. Ghost picked up the ID tags with trembling hands. Tag 1, SGT. James Michael Hartford, U.S. Army, 75th Ranger Regiment, Kia, Afghanistan, 03/03/2016. Tag 2, Reeks, K9MWD, K274. EO detection dog, 187 missions, 34 IEDs detected. My partner to the end. Absolute silence fell over the 30 bikers. Warhorse knelt. He petted Rex's head gently. "You're a veteran," he murmured, "a war hero, and you're dying alone in a parking lot." Tears streamed down the faces of men who had seen combat, men who had lost friends, men who understood exactly what those medals meant. "He needs a vet, now," Doc said. "I'll take him on my bike," Tank offered. "There's an emergency clinic 5 miles away." "No," Warhorse said, standing up. "We're not just taking him to the vet." He looked at the 29 men around him. This dog served his country, saved lives. His handler died protecting him, and now he's abandoned, dying, forgotten. Warhorse took out his phone. "We're going to honor him," he said. "We're going to show this hero he hasn't been forgotten. And we're going to find out who abandoned him. He made a call, not to one club, to 22 clubs. If you believe that military heroes, human or animal, deserve honor and respect, subscribe to this channel now. Share this story. Show that service and sacrifice should never be forgotten, because what happened in the next 5 hours mobilized 500 veterans and changed federal laws." Warhorse called every veteran biker club president he knew in the region. "Brothers," he said on a conference call, "I've got a retired military K9, a hero of 187 missions. Handler died protecting him in Afghanistan. The dog's been abandoned. He's dying. I need every available veteran in Pittsburgh in 4 hours." One by one, replies came in. "Devil's Disciples, 38 members en route." "Steel Brotherhood, 42 members mobilizing." "Iron Demons, 31 members rolling." All 23 clubs confirmed. Meanwhile, Tank rushed Rex to the River's Edge Emergency Veterinary Clinic. Dr. Sarah Chen, no relation to the previous Chens, received Rex. The exam revealed severe malnutrition, 22 pounds underweight, critical dehydration, untreated advanced arthritis, dental infections, multiple pressure sores from lying in a cage. Canine PTSD aggravated. "This dog has been neglected for months," Dr. Chen said, furious. "Possibly a year. Who did this?" Ghost was already investigating. He had contacts, resources, ex-detective skills. In 90 minutes, he had pieced together the entire story. The adoption by the Chens, the deaths of Thomas and Margaret Green Valley Senior Dog Sanctuary, the inspection and violations Rex dumped on the street. He contacted the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, discovered that Green Valley had shut its doors 2 days earlier, fleeing before legal enforcement. Richard and Patricia Stewart were in hiding, but not for long. At 9:30 p.m. that Sunday, September 8, 2024, something extraordinary happened in Pittsburgh. 500 motorcycles gathered at Veterans Memorial Park. 500 veterans, 23 different clubs, ages 28 to 79. Wars from Vietnam, the Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, all wearing their club patches, all carrying American flags. many wearing their own military medals. Warhorse stood on an improvised platform. "Brothers and sisters," he said. 3 female veteran clubs had also shown up. "Tonight, we are not here for revenge. We are here for honor." He held up a photo of Rex with his medals. This K-9 served 187 missions, detected 34 IEDs, saved countless lives. His handler gave his life protecting him, and he was abandoned, thrown out like trash. Murmurs of anger rippled through the 500 veterans. "But tonight," Warhorse continued, "we're going to show Rexand the world that veterans take care of their own, always." He pointed to formation. The 500 bikers mounted up, and they marched. It wasn't a casual ride. It was a military march. Perfect formation. 2 bikes side by side, 250 pairs, a uniform speed of 25 mph. Lights on, flags waving. They crossed Pittsburgh at 10 Oz p.m. Streets closed by the police, who had heard about the mission and supported it. Drivers stopped, got out of their cars, placed their hands on their hearts. People on sidewalks applauded, filmed, cried. The procession of 500 bikes with lights stretching for 1.4 miles was seen by 40,000 people that night. Destination: River's Edge Veterinary Clinic, where Rex was recovering. The 500 bikers parked in perfect formation around the clinic. They cut their engines simultaneously. They stood, hands on hearts, absolute silence. Dr. Chen came out, tears in her eyes. "He's stable," she announced, "but he needs to be hospitalized for 5 days. Treatment will cost $8,400. "We've got it," Warhorse said immediately. "All of us." 500 veterans contributed $20 each. They raised $10,000 in 12 minutes. But money wasn't the only goal. Ghost approached Warhorse with a laptop. "Found the Stewarts," he said. "Richard and Patricia, fleeing to Florida. But they're still in Pennsylvania Hotel in Erie. Tracked their credit card transactions." "Cops know?" Warhorse asked. "Yeah, but no formal warrant yet. Process takes days." Warhorse looked at the 500 veterans. "Do we have days?" he asked rhetorically. The decision was unanimous. 150 bikers volunteered to go to Erie, 3-hour ride. They left at midnight. They arrived at the Comfort Inn in Erie at 3:15 a.m. They didn't storm it. They didn't threaten. They simply surrounded the hotel, parked 150 bikes at every exit, and waited. At 6:30 a.m., Richard and Patricia tried to leave. They saw 150 bikers, motionless, silent, staring. Richard tried to go back to the room. 3 veterans blocked the door. "We're not here to hurt you," said the leader of that group, a 68-year-old veteran named Old Wolf. "We're here to make sure you face justice." The Erie police arrived in 8 minutes. Ghost had tipped them off. Richard and Patricia were detained. Formal charges would come in 48 hours. Richard Stewart and Patricia Stewart faced 23 criminal charges, state charges, animal cruelty, 14 counts owned for each neglected dog, fraud, misleading clients about quality of care, embezzlement, using care money for personal expenses, animal abandonment, Rex and 3 other dogs. Federal charges: violation of the Animal Welfare Act, mail fraud, misleading advertising sent by mail. The trial took place in March 2025. Verdict: guilty on all charges. Sentences: Richard, 8 years in federal prison, $120,000 in fines, $340,000 in restitution to victims, plus lifetime ban on working with animals. Patricia, 6 years in prison at $80,000 in fines, or $240,000 in restitutions, lifetime ban. Most importantly, the case inspired legislation. Rex's law was passed by Pennsylvania in June 2025. Retired military dogs get adoption priority for the deceased handler's family animal care facilities, face mandatory quarterly inspections, penalties for neglect increased by 300%. Public registry of violators federal legislation followed. The K-9 Military Honor Act passed by Congress in September 2025. All retired military K-9s eligible for free adoption by veterans, lifelong veterinary care, covered by the VA for adopted K-9s, national database of retired military K-9s available for adoption, Rex recovered slowly but completely. He gained 20 pounds in 10 weeks. His coat began to shine again. His arthritis was treated with proper medication and specialized canine physical therapy. The question remained, who would adopt him? Daniel Hartford, James's brother, Rex's original handler, was now 34, still living in Pittsburgh. When he heard Rex's story, how he was found, rescued, honored by 500 veterans, he knew what he had to do. "My brother died protecting Rex," Daniel said. "It's my responsibility to finish his job. Rex is coming home." Daniel adopted Rex in October 2024. It took 3 weeks for Rex to trust completely, but when he did, the transformation was beautiful. Rex had a new purpose: to be a therapy dog for veterans with PTSD. His own experience with trauma made him perfect. He visited the VA hospital twice a week, sat with veterans, let them pet him, offered a comfort that only another veteran could give. He saved lives again, but this time with his presence, not explosives detection. On March 3, 2022, the 9th anniversary of James Hartford's death, a special ceremony was held in Pittsburgh. 800 people attended, including the 500 veteran bikers who marched that September night. Rex was officially honored with the Honorary Distinguished Service Medal induction into the U.S. Military Dog Hall of Fame. A commemorative statue in Veterans Memorial Park, Rex and James together. Daniel gave a speech. "My brother James gave his life protecting Rex. Rex spent 8 years alone, forgotten, suffering, but 500 veterans remembered him, honored him, saved him." He looked at the bikers. "You prove that leave no one behind isn't just a slogan, it's a sacred promise. Thank you for keeping that promise." 500 veterans rose to their feet. An 8-minute standing ovation. Rex, now 13, was lying on the stage next to Daniel. Old, tired but loved, honored, home. There is an old military creed. We leave no one behind, but for a long time that creed didn't include our four-legged partners. Military dogs serve with equal courage. They risk their lives. They save their comrades. And when the war ends, many are forgotten. Rex served 187 missions, detected 34 bombs, saved countless lives, and his handler died protecting him. That should have been enough honor for a lifetime of care and respect. Instead, Rex was neglected, abandoned, left to die in a parking lot, until 30 veterans found him and saw the medals and remembered. They remembered all the K9 partners who served alongside them, all the dogs who detected danger, who protected, who died so that soldiers could live, and those 30 called 470 others who felt the same. Richard and Patricia Stewart thought they could profit from neglect, that no one would notice one old dog dying. They were wrong. 500 motorcycles roaring through Pittsburgh proved that veterans take care of their own, always, human or canine. Rex was 12 when he collapsed in that parking lot. Old, broken, ready to give up, but he lived 3 more years. He didn't just live, he thrived. He loved. He served again, because 30 men looked down and saw not just an old dog. They saw a brother in arms. And 500 veterans marched to prove that brothers are never left behind, because some promises are sacred, some debts are eternal, and some medals hanging from the collar of an old German Shepherd are worth more than all the riches in the world.